Hello guys, my name is Anna and I'm from Ukraine, and I have started vlogging at the very beginning of Russia's brutal invasion of my beautiful and independent country. And I continue daily to update you on real life situation in my country, and I hope that together we will witness Ukrainian victory. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and leave your comments, ask your questions, because I'm always glad to answer them. And we have a perfect, strong and friendly community on the channel I am especially proud of. And today, together with you, I want to learn more about those brave people who have started liberation of Russia. I mean Russian partisans who belong to Russian Volunteer Corps. You've taught me how to pronounce the word correctly. And also about the Freedom of Russia Legion, which is another military unit that fights for the liberation of Russia from Putin's regime and empire ideology. So let me start with this positive news. First of all, in all empires throughout history, there are people who are against this empire appetite, who see wrong attitudes that government expresses, and there are such people in Russia, surprisingly. Of course, their number is really small, and they did not change anything seriously during the last decades. But maybe we have finally reached the peak, and they will become more and more visible with each day. And special military operation in Belgorod will inspire them to be more active and more visible. So in general, of course, the percent of people ready to change something in Russia is really low. If it was at least like 10-15%, then perhaps Putin would not be a president of Russia anymore and we wouldn't have this war. But these tendencies are definitely good. So what do we know? What have I managed to read in Ukrainian media about this military units, about this Russian partisan? Well, first of all, when we speak about good Russians that are not dead but alive and active people who want to change this imperialistic Putin's regime in Russia, we have to say that many of them left Russia in 2014 when Russia started its war against Ukraine. And many of these people actually immigrated to Ukraine, started supporting us on Maidan, the Revolution of Dignity, and later continue fighting within Ukrainian volunteer battalions for the freedom of Ukraine and against Russian aggressors. And the most famous of them is perhaps the former officer of FSB, Ilya Bogdanov, who joined a volunteer movement in Ukraine and was pretty active on social media and so on. I personally think that it is extremely important for Russians to know that such Russians exist, because perhaps there is a huge layer, if it's possible to say so, of the population that is neutral or doesn't care about anything or does not believe any change is possible. So here they are, real examples of normal Russians that want to live in a more or less democratic and civilized country, contrary to what Putin builds of it. So after the beginning of full-scale war in Ukraine, lots and lots of foreigners from different countries of the world came to support us and to fight for us, and we are extremely grateful for that. Sometimes, even when the country's government is against Ukrainians to some extent, as Brazil, there are lots of Brazilian volunteers sacrificing their lives for the freedom and independence of Ukraine. So we are very grateful for all of these people who come to fight. And among these international legion representatives, of course, there are Russians and Belarus people. And honestly, I think this is an extremely good experience, not only for strengthening Ukrainian armed forces, but also for them getting the necessary experience that they might need fighting for independence in their own countries. And I do have optimistic ideas about Belarus' future, because they have demonstrated these tendencies not once, and maybe Russians will also change my opinion. So Now let me explain you more of what I know from Ukrainian media about these two units that actually liberated a couple of settlements in Belgorod and Bryansk regions and proclaimed that they are going to eradicate Putin's regime and soon will head to Moscow and other big Russian cities. By the way, their colors are blue and white, and balloons of this color were seen in Moscow and in St. Petersburg. They want to forbid balloons because, like, you know, balloons are dangerous. So the International Legion, known as Freedom of Russia, appeared in spring 2022, so a couple of months after the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. What is very interesting, it consists mainly of former Russian military who came to fight in Ukraine against Ukraine, were captured, but seeing the crimes and brutalities of Russia and that this war is totally wrong, they have decided to fight on Ukrainian side. So they switched from Russian armed forces to Ukrainian and now protect independence and freedom of Ukraine and of course want liberation of Russia. And in their addresses, they often say that it is wrong for Ukrainians to spill their blood liberating Russia and that it is their task to continue fighting on Russian territory. And I think it's perfect because then we don't break any borders, we don't break any international agreements and so on. We continue protecting our territory and our colleagues from Russia continue liberating Russia. And it is extremely important that this Freedom of Russia Legion started growing really quickly, and more people who are Russian citizens join it, and they want to fight, as they describe it, they want to fight against Russian imperial regime and Putin's regime, and they want this normal civil society where they are able to travel, where they are able to speak with other nations and live without censorship and hatred. Second unit was formed in the end of 2022 and in the early beginning of 2023, and it is known as Russian Volunteer Corps, and I know how to pronounce it, hopefully. And it consists of volunteers and immigrants who left Russia during these years of Putin's regime and who want to return back to their country when it's normal, and they believe that they don't have to sit and wait and they are able to do something. So this volunteer corps consists of people who are not only military but who are working in different spheres, and they want to fight for the liberation of Russia. Their political office is located in Warsaw, in Poland, and hopefully they will be able to continue and to grow stronger in their fight for the liberation of Russia and fall of Putin's regime. What is important that these volunteer units, they do not exist in the propaganda messages as Russians try to portray it, but these are real people doing real things. And as this war continues, they become more and more effective and more visible. We all see it in Belgorod and Bryansk regions. So the most successful and ambitious of their operations was definitely conducted these days in Belgorod region and Bryansk region, and we see many settlements liberated. We see the building of FSB attacked. We see a Bryansk factory connected with some military production burning, and a lot of other totally positive and important things. But definitely the most important element of this special military operation of Russians against Russians is, of course, this informational and psychological message that they are sending to Ukrainians and to Russians. Once again, I'm stressing it that from this judicial perspective, law perspective, these are citizens of Russia fighting against citizens of Russia and liberating themselves from Putin. So is civil war in Russia possible? I think yes. Of course, very quickly after this news appeared, Kremlin regime proclaimed anti-terroristic operation in these regions. Doesn't that remind you things happening in Ukraine in 2014? And they are still not able to take the situation under control. Actually, yesterday I thought it will happen really quickly, and it doesn't matter because the message is sent, the precedent is created, but they are still not able to control these regions, and who knows, maybe the fire will burn longer. I'm using a metaphorical expression. And this is once again a very important message for Ukrainians, that there are Russians ready to fight together with us against Putin and his imperial regime, totalitarian, authoritarian, and whatever. Also, these Russians are important for us after we win, because I don't know why so many political leaders want to speak about the future of Russia, and that's important because that's a huge territory and lots of people that need to be cured from Putin's propaganda. And also that these units can be successful, and that all these images of Russian military and how protected Russia is are fake, which is again a proof that they simply create this image, but they are bullies with nothing to support their words. Also, Russia is in panic, and when you see their publics, people are crying, people are escaping, they've left lots of settlements on the border, they are angry at Putin and the government that they are not able to protect them, and finally they have tasted their own remedy. Well, no one is killed, no one of the civilians suffered, but it's important that they see their own vulnerability, and at least for a couple of minutes they can feel what ordinary Ukrainians feel for a year and more. So I am very happy to speak about this Russian partisan units, because honestly until yesterday I did not expect they are real, and they are working hard, and they are able of conducting such special operations together with superb Ukrainian intelligence agency. I'm honestly proud, because I am convinced that all of these special military operations are designed together, and our experience is invaluable for Russians and Belarus people who want to liberate their countries from dictatorship regimes. And it is really interesting to observe what is happening. I definitely share the opinion of so many of my subscribers who say that we did not expect such things are possible, and this counter-offensive can start in a different way. It doesn't have to be Bakhmut, it can be somewhere from inside Russia. And this war is totally unpredictable, but we have to win it, because we are fighting for the truth, for freedom, democracy, and if together with liberating Ukraine, we will be able to liberate suppressed nations of Russia, this is definitely a huge plus to all of us. So let's observe more attentively this Russia partisan movements and their blue and white colors, reminding us that maybe one day Russia will be liberated. So let's free Russia together with Ukraine. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to witness the victory of Ukraine, subscribe to my channel and watch the updates. I try to provide you with this subjective and emotional, ordinary Ukrainian perspective. I'm no military expert or something like that, but I'm definitely a Ukrainian expert, because I live all of this time in my country. I love it a lot. I know much about our history and culture, and always ready to share with you. Thank you for buying me coffees and becoming my patrons. I'm honored to have you in my life. Introduce yourself to our t-shirts, hoodies, and caps. They are perfect for summer and they are good conversation starters. Join me on Instagram and Twitter and my Discord community. All the links that can tell you more about me, you can find below this video in description. And thank you so much for being with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!